guys, welcome back. I don't know if today is win or not, but at least I got some progress done. And anytime that you're out there building a hot rod, a little bit of progress is progress, so count it. Today, I take this engine and transmission and I bolt it all together for the final time. So do me a favor, because at the end of this video, my battery died on like the last 2 seconds. So I'll tell you now, click the subscribe button, ring the bell, tell a friend about it, and enjoy the video. Leave me a comment, tell me what you think too. All right. Hey guys, back in the garage, another day. Again, hot rods don't build themselves, so I'm out here doing a little bit of work, trying to put this old Model A together. Pretty excited because where we left off on the last video, we just got done putting the chassis all together. And in fact, yesterday I was able to push this thing out in the driveway and pull my daily driver in here and teach my daughter how to make a big mess on the garage floor when you change the oil. But I've got a plan for today. Over the next day or two, I want to put a bunch of ground down on getting this thing put together. So first thing I'm going to do, I got to prep this old engine and transmission to go in the chassis, which means I've got to do a little bit of work on my cross member for my transmission mount. I got to do a little work on this. When I put this together, I just mocked it up without really, I should have just put the time in, but there's no flywheel in there and there's just a stock torque converter. So I got to go in there and put my good torque converter in, bolt the flywheel in, so those are going to have to get separated. While I'm at it, I want to paint that front engine mount. Let me think of a color, black. I'll paint it black so that it can go in and that it can just stay in. But it shouldn't take too much work to have that whole front, that engine together and put in. So I'm going to try to get done what I can. I think the first thing I'm going to do is wrestle my engine hoist inside the garage here so I can lift this up a little bit. And if I do this right, I don't have to break out my engine stand and put it all together to hang the engine. I can just kind of suspend it there while I try to put that new torque converter in without making it look like a murder happened in here. We'll see how it goes. Okay. Got my hoist hooked up and I got ready to take the torque converter out and disconnect the transmission so I can put my flex plate in. And I ran into snago numero uno. And that is, I just decided I'd do a little test fit of torque converter to flywheel. And again, another Johnny Cash reference. I tried to line up the holes, or line up for the bolts, all the holes were gone. So, you can see here, about right there, holes don't line up. Also, this seemed weird to me. I don't claim to be the guru of the small block Chevy, however I do know my way around a few. And I thought, well, that's a goofy weight. That kind of reminds me of a 400. Knowing the 400s are externally balanced. So I did a bunch of research online and found out that this engine, well, I know this engine's a late model block. It's one of the latest model, like Gen 1 small blocks. Okay, it came out in, I think this was a year 2000, 2001, maybe even 02 express van that it came out of. It's a one-piece rear main seal block, a hydraulic roller cam in it, and it's weird. And I think it's weird because this flex plate was probably, in my quick research I did, bolted to a heavy-duty transmission. So I'm bolting it to a turbo 350, trying to. And so I think the way to go about it, because I know this flex plate goes with that engine, I didn't screw up and end up with a 400 flex plate or anything. I think the way to go about it is to make holes line up with the torque converter. So I'm going to think on that one for a couple minutes, and I might do a little butchery on a flywheel and get those suckers to line up. Guys do that with LS builds, right? They got to do a little slot the flex plate a little bit to make it bolt up to a turbo 350. I think that's the same exact thing I got going here, and I think that's the way I'm going to go about it. Let me think about it for a minute. Okay, back at it here, about to put this back together, and I have a guest appearance from somebody, so bear with me for just a second here.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Reggie the Lizard.
Retchie the Lizard. Well, it's nice to meet you, Retchie the Lizard.
Hi. Want to shake hands?
Sure. Well, it's good to meet you. Okay, Retchie, what's your favorite thing about what's going on out here?
I like hot rods and I'm part of Channel 4 News.
Channel 4 News, and he likes hot rods. Okay, Retchie the Lizard, we'll see you later, okay?
Bye.
Okay, back at it here. I drilled out those holes, oblonged them a little bit, so they'll fit. And yeah, it's kind of the same thing, makes sense. This was an odd year, mostly GM was making LS motors. So it makes sense that the flex plate would be the same as what's on an LS, which you had to trim down to fit onto a, if you're going to put it like an older Turbo 350 like I'm doing, you had to trim it down. So do me a favor, just put a little comment in there. You heard of this before? Did I screw it up? Did I do it right? Am I going to put this thing together and be all mad? I don't know. But next thing I'm doing, a little bit of thread locker, and I'll screw these flex plate bolts in, thread lock them, torque them, and then I come over here and I'll deal with the torque converter. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I got my flex plate bolted on, and I'm getting ready to stick the converter, swap it out for that stock converter that's on that transmission. This is where I'm going to take a moment, and this is very important. Listen to this on how you select a torque converter for a car, okay? First thing you got to do, look at the type of camshaft you're using. You look at the RPM range it operates in, the duration of the camshaft, you match that with the kind of intake you're using, type of carburetor, number of carburetors. You look at your rear gear, your tire diameter, your desired cruising RPM, and then you go on, you buy the cheapest torque converter you can find. And that's it. That's what I did. Found one on sale, bought it. Says it's about a 1900 stall, which is a little bit more than stock, which is like, I don't know, 12 to 1400. So take it for what it's worth. There's a science to it. I didn't do any of that. I just went and I found the Jegs on sale, super cheap, torque converter. Bought it like a year ago when I knew I was going to need it. Threw it in the parts bin, and here we are. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of oil in it. I'm going to try to not make it a bloodbath in here, pulling that old torque converter off. Once I pop it off, this one really is, I was sarcastic before, but this one is important. You ever have a transmission sitting like this one did? Like this one did for a long time with a torque converter just laying in it? It sits there and it sags on the bottom end of that seal. So I'm here to tell you, it's worth it before you stuff this thing in and bolt it up to the flex plate or flywheel. Flex plate. Buy one of these guys. This seal costs $3, okay? I'm going to replace that sucker, put this brand new torque converter in on the new seal, bolt it up, no leaks. Then I'll be ready to slam that together, and honestly, that'll probably call it. I'll probably do it for the day. So we'll see if I can get that done here in the next few minutes. Okay, tip time. I don't know if you guys saw that when I went to knock that seal in there, but I got a trick. A buddy of mine, old Ricky Bobby, RB for short, taught me. Get yourself one of these little adapters when you're buying your seal at the parts store. This one happens to be 2 1/4 to 2 1/2, and the 2 1/4 side fits on there real nice. You get out there on the end. I had to put a little wood block on it just to get past the end of the input shaft. You just line that sucker up, whack, pop it in there. If you've ever sat there and wrestled one of these for a while trying to get it to jam in there, you'll know what I'm talking about. Okay, next thing I do, put a little bit of oil in that torque converter, put a little bit around the input, the lip of that thing so that it doesn't gall up the, or mess up my seal when it goes in. And we'll stuff that torque converter on and get this project rolling. Okay, probably going to lose a little bit of fluid as I stick this on there because I filled up as much as I could in the torque converter. But like I said earlier, I put some oil on the seal here, a little bit of a little bit of oil on this shaft for the torque converter. And then remember, when you slip it on there, 3 clunks will get you there. Okay, I just had to get a little bit mean with it and do a little, the trick was give it a little jiggle forward and aft as you spun. And it's 3 distinct clunks, right? Clunk, you'll spin it, clunk, it'll go again. Have to spin it, jiggle a little bit, you get that 3rd clunk. And the front of the torque converter bolt flange should be at least 1 inch in from the bell housing front flange. So it's in, it's on, ready to rock and roll. I'm going to slip that sucker around, try to bolt it back up to the engine, and we'll see if we can get this sucker Well, at least bolted together today. How's that sound? Okay, that's it. It's together. Motor, trans, mated for the final time. I got to go underneath and button up my torque converter bolts. I've got the bolts set aside there. It's ready to rock, just bolted to the flywheel. I'm going to call this for today. I'm going to hang it up for this one. Next time we come out here, I got a couple things to do. One is try to de-uglify that cross member / transmission mount just a little bit. I got to lift this engine up again and rip that front motor mount off, clean it up and paint it. And then this thing will be ready to lift up, set down there in the chassis. I just did a quick video, I just threw an iPhone video together to show some modifications I did on my engine hoist here. One, and if you guys haven't figured that out, zip that little stupid little clip, that safety thing off there, that's a pain. But this is a game changer right here. I forget where I picked this up, but I just welded this 1/4 inch bolt to the release valve here. That makes some precision lowering of it happen real easily. So that's it. This episode done. Finito. I got a couple shout outs to give. One, dude named Scott Rods. Look him up on YouTube. Very cool. I'll put a link to his stuff. Very cool guy. Followed my stuff. Gave me great comments. And in fact, I was watching one of his videos and I had like a cameo in it. I was playing in the background. So thanks, man. That's very cool. Way to build a community. Also, I'll put a link up to Sally's Speed Shop. Jacob Ross Davis. If you don't know him from Hot Rod Magazine, he's building the speed shop. Got a YouTube channel back up and running again. I shot him some YouTube questions and he jumped right back and helped me out. So awesome, good dudes. That's what this is all about, right? Building this community, building some hot rods.